Hi, and welcome to New God Sunday School. I'm Tom Scioli, author of Jack Kirby, The Epic Life of the King of Comics, and I Am Stan, a graphic biography of the legendary Stan Lee. Hopefully you've picked up your free comic book day edition of I Am Stan at your local comics retailer. If you would like to pre-order the full I Am Stan book, there's a pre-order link in the show notes below. Please follow me on Instagram at Tom_Scioli and on Twitter at Tom Scioli. Check out my Patreon. Go to patreon.com, search Tom Scioli. Mr. Miracle number 8. We're watching the most incredible fight in the history of comics. It's in Mr. Miracle. Mr. Miracle is actually fighting in the lump's mind. And if he loses, he dies. Get this ringside seat to the Battle of the Id. And this issue starts off great with Big Barda. We don't waste any time showing her, wrapping this metal around this guy's neck or putting this guy up here. We see the results and our imaginations fill in the rest. And there she is. Apocalypse, a world without mercy, a jungle of the super strong, the creation of evil gods whose code is shape up or die. Unable to escape the long arm of the code, Scott-free and Big Barda have returned to face the Battle of the Id. I can find the way to my barracks without a military escort from Granny Goodness. Ugh, you kill crazy she-wolf. You'll pay for this. And now, one of Jack Kirby's greatest double-page spreads, just introducing the barracks of the female Furies, this sort of, super team on Apocalypse. Each one of these background characters could be the star of their own comic. Inside the barracks that houses Barda's unit, the Furies, now leaderless and undisciplined, gives free rein to its problem of choosing a new leader. Oafish pigs, stow it, Bernadette. If you won't fight, you won't lead. I'll put more trust in my weapon than in any power-drunk nut in this outfit. I'm glad Big Barda deserted Apocalypse. Choosing a new leader is more fun than a shootout with Darkseid's elite guard. There's documentation, some drawings and proposals that Kirby was trying to pitch a Big Barda and the Female Furies spin-off book at DC, which never came to fruition. But this issue, you can sort of see how, it's a very fertile ground for new stories with basically this whole army that can be part of the story. And among the brawlers, Mad Harriet, you tattooed horror, I'll fix you for trying to get me in the back with those power spikes. Show me a better way to kill you and I'll try it, Lashina. Go on, draw your strap, I'll take you this way too. Break it up, you bloodthirsty harpies. I've come back and I'm in no mood for noise. Big Barda, I'm still in command. Make no mistake about that. But don't let me cool your battle fever. We're going to fight tonight. We're going to attack and invade Section 0. This is a great page too. The panel border design, the text section, this great lettering from Mike Royer, different types of drawing letters, and then this great super crisp sci-fi Kirby image with all this smoke and bubbles. Section 0. In the grim world of the Granny Goodness orphanage, words alone conjure up the deep underlying fear and secrecy that shroud a function of Granny's operation which is never talked about. Those who vanish into Section 0 are never seen again, but their cries are heard, and what is done to their bodies is hidden by seething gases. Unidentified vapor rising from deep pits, crossing spiny catwalks, assaulting the senses of Scott-free, Mr. Miracle. Keep going, Mr. Miracle. Look straight ahead and ignore anything you hear below. I don't know what's down there, but I'm certain it's nothing pleasant. Edited, written, and drawn by Jack Kirby, inked and lettered by Mike Royer. Yeah, great job, Mike. And yeah, this just, some beautiful sci-fi stuff. So much fun and sci-fi mythology, this sort of, pit of hell that all these sort of semi-robotic armored figures are walking across. This guy's stirring it up with a stick. We see some of the creatures that reside in there rising up. Suddenly, from the depths of the swirling gases, the shocking evidence of what lies below leaps into view. What? Get back, down, you miserable, misshapen freaks. Ugh, they've got a death grip on my cape. They're pulling me down. The whining freaks. What overwhelming despair must drive the wretches who must live out life down there? In the vapors below, the faces appear. Are they distorted by the shifting gases, or is this an oblique view of living hell? So, just a great sequence, really evocative. Mr. Miracle is really doing this sort of descent into the underworld. They knock him out and drag him. Great, body language there. Kirby's drawn that before, that sort of thing of like dragging somebody and just their feet kind of dragging behind them, from various like crime comics where, somebody gets hit in the back of the head with a blackjack and then carried off by gangsters, so he can, draw that stuff with ease. This way, quickly, quickly, Granny Goodness is growing impatient. She is anxious to see this show. And what a show it should be, the Lump and Mr. Miracle clashing in the arena of the gods. Now, the Lump, this is his only appearance, but I always thought he was like a very cool, kind of memorable character. His, lumpiness, and pink. He always kind of reminded me of like a giant wad of gum. And that if this series had become really popular, maybe marketing the lump gum where you double bubble or something, and you unwrap it and it's a little the lump that you can chew on with that sort of like sugar powder that is on like those old fashioned like wax paper wrapped bubble gums. The innermost layers of the mind in the realm called the id, where the lump really lives and thrives. Once we complete the psycho merge, that realm will expand to include 2 inhabitants or 2 combatants. So that's the setup. Mr. Miracle's getting put in this sort of high-tech sarcophagus where he's going to be electronically, psychically linked with the lump, and they are going to enact a battle in the realm of their own imaginations. Cool, fun, sci-fi stuff. You in there, get on with it. My guests and I can't spend eternity waiting for Scott-Free to get his lumps. As soon as the merge is made, visual projection will be possible. Our little psychodrama is only moments away, good friends. Section 0 never fails to provide us with an endless variety of entertainment. We're getting to see, the whole cast of characters, of villains that we've met so far. Here's Granny Goodness in a, new kind of outfit, a sort of party outfit, kind of, like in the tradition of Odin, where like every time you see him, he's in a completely different costume. We have a Vermin Wunderbar, Canto, Palace Intrigue. Vermin Wunderbar is, kind of, a toady. And then Canto like doesn't report to Granny, he reports to Darkseid, and so there's a little, tension between the two. Marvelous, aren't my boys marvelous? And you, Canto, are you too left undaunted by humiliation? Scott-Free was at your mercy, yet you too failed to kill him. I never fail, Granny. In his case, I merely decided not to succeed. I knew Scott was headed here. To this. Bully for you. All right, you technical wonders in that room. Get this show on the road. The concept is quite sound. They will send an electro-tracer pulse into their brain channels and send back visual images of this happening. Suddenly, a door in the rear is flung open. Stay in your seats. This person is of high rank, but bears the status of non-being. So this can be none other than the infamous mystery prisoner of Section 0. You needn't rise. This female lives with the scorn of Darkseid himself. You heard him, stiff neck. Don't let your reflexes earn you trouble. However, I thank you for this bit of courtesy. I wouldn't ordinarily leave my upholstered cell for one of Granny's rotten little amusements, but the loneliness of the passing years is worse. Don't make any reply. She is to talk to no one. That jackal barks in the safety of his pack, but this caged killer cat waits. She lives and waits. For somewhere outside roams her own kind, her son. So, I love this. First of all, I love that sort of, masked, sort of hooded, costume that she has to wear, part of her imprisonment. At this point, her name hasn't been spoken, but this is Tigra. This is the mother of Orion, the consort of Darkseid, the former consort of Darkseid. And now, for one reason or another, he's fallen out of favor with her, and she's kept in this, she's too important in the hierarchy to just kind of, be thrown to the wolves, but she's on Darkseid's shit list. So it's an interesting place she occupies in the hierarchy of Apocalypse. Apocalypse is a hierarchical world, and Kirby, from his experiences in the rough and tumble neighborhood he grew up in, and his experiences in the military and in war, he has a thorough and nuanced understanding of hierarchy, and we're seeing that at play here. Very interesting. And yeah, you only would know who this is if you have read New Gods #7. She makes a brief appearance in there, but again, very striking visual. And there, she was much younger. Now she's in sort of the New Gods version of middle age. So she's still recognizable, but you can see the passage of time on her face, and she's talking about her son, and that's Orion. It's the way these stories interweave with each other it's just really great, and I feel like it's a step forward from what Jack Kirby was doing with Stan Lee over at Marvel. It's become more like organic and more intricately integrated, and her son's out there. So, and it's also reading this stuff concurrently with reading the Thor stuff, you can see how, like, with Thor, Kirby had the Tales of Asgard in the back, where he'd tell these stories that weren't really directly related to what was going on in the main story, but could, sort of tell these fanciful tales, and then take, as time goes on, take little elements from those Tales of Asgard stories and then bring them into the modern day of the regular Thor. And that's exactly what he's doing here. We tell this flashback to New Gods #7, and now all of a sudden there's all these wonderful little treats that you can sort of pull out of there and put into the modern continuity, and just give the whole thing just again, like a tapestry is what Jack Kirby referred to it as. All these threads coming together. Ignoring her notorious prisoner, Granny Goodness champs at the bit. And I also like how it's not like hitting you over the head. It's not like, here's Tigra, from New Gods #7. Really good novelistic storytelling. There's a screen where you can watch what's going on in the minds, in this sort of mind merge of the Lump and Mr. Miracle. You can watch that here. And I hope to eventually, as we go through all the Kirby stuff, I hope to eventually, go on to other New Gods comics by other creative teams. And as far as I know, Grant Morrison was the first person to sort of bring the Lump back in a major way, and has Batman do battle with the Lump much the same way that Mr. Miracle does here. Mr. Miracle is a good comic and a good character to pilfer for, ideas for Batman, because, Batman sort of becomes a super escape artist himself. What appears on the screen is a vast, endless, limbo-like plane, and like an ant on its surface is Mr. Miracle. This strange place looks real, feels real. Pow. It is real, stranger. You can live or die in the realm of the id. The Lump. Yes, you're the Lump, but not like you were on that table. That Lump doesn't exist here. This is what I am here. You're really an overpowering sight. He is just sort of a lump of flesh or a lump of bubblegum in the real world. But in this world, he's in charge, this sort of, virtual reality. He is a shapeshifter. He knows his way around this virtual world. Big fight breaks out between him and Mr. Miracle. And Mr. Miracle isn't really a brawler. Like he's not like, Thor or Orion. He's not a brawler. He's a guy who gets out of situations with his, creativity and his imagination. If he has to throw a couple punches, he does. But he's not usually the guy who's getting in like a big knockdown drag out with Calabac or something like Orion. But here he's forced to fight, and so he has to, and he does what he can. But not only can the Lump transform himself, he can also transform the entire environment. This whole, like, you're inside his head, and he can change anything here. And so Mr. Miracle, like, what can he possibly do? It's like when Captain America had to fight the Red Skull, where he has the cosmic cube. Kirby creates these situations of impossible odds for the superhero to overcome. Superheroes require super difficult, super impossible situations. And now he's starting to drown in this ground that's suddenly become liquid. If I drown here, my body dies on that table in Section 0. That's one of those things that you would see in in movies. There's a lot of these movies where, like, people, go inside their dreams and stuff. Freddy Krueger and stuff before that. And, like, that's one of the conceits they would always come up with in in those movies and stories where it's like, if you die in your dreams, you die in real life. And I remember even as a kid, that idea was kind of out there and circulated as like a real thing. Like, oh, that's why you always wake up right before you hit the ground if you're falling in a dream, because if you hit the ground in your dream, you'll die in real life. For a time, I believed that, and it's bunk. You can die in your dream. You won't die in real life. Correction, guest. The word is died. But then, Mr. Miracle pops out. Sorry to frustrate you, lump, but cheating death is my business. You won't cheat him for long, I swear it. Meantime, the watchers in Granny's mini theater are involved in the scene. Of course, if Mr. Miracle can function in that strange realm, so can his anti-grav gimmicks. Do I detect a note of professional admiration, Canto? Perhaps, madam, we are what we are. You're an assassin, Canto. You kill on order for reward. For dark side, dear lady, because I'm very good at my trade. I dare say, if the fates decree it, I suppose your talents could be utilized against poor Granny herself. It would fill me with infinite sadness, sweet Granny. Still, I should be discreetly silent, respectfully thorough. You charming swine, on such a day, beware, the pupil shall face his teacher. Just great, palace intrigue is what I'd call this. And again, Kirby's planting seeds here. I'm on the edge of my seat and planting seeds for stories that he could have told stories for years and years and years with these characters, and it's just it's a real shame. It's like the gladiatorial arena. They're watching two people kill each other, for their amusement. Except this time it's on a screen and it's going on inside their heads, giving it sort of like a sci-fi twist, like modern reality shows. And so now we're seeing again the Kirby, really has a great time when he's doing these characters that are shapeshifters. He's very good at textures, very, very imaginative with different things. And so the lump turns into Santa Claus with an axe, a deadly woodsman. I love the way that axe is like cleaving the earth, this rock that Mr. Miracle's on. It's just, really nice drawing, really, really unique to Kirby. And now look at this, the axe is raised and the shadows falling on Mr. Miracle's face. And so you end, friend. No, you lump, this just begins. Don't you see in this timeless place, it can never end. What happened? Where are you? Here. And here. I'm incredibly fast, lump. I could probably hold you off forever. Not if I find a way to slow you down. And that's the key to Granny's devilish plan, to keep us in conflict here forever. So yeah, that's interesting. Maybe they will just be sort of trapped in their own minds forever, fighting each other. If they could only find some way out of this, find that third path, step outside of this conflict. No, not forever. You assume that I think like a lump because I look like one. You know differently now, don't you? Spines. You grew a hide full of razor-sharp spines. So yeah, now he's like a porcupine, and they're all stuck in Mr. Miracle's hand. And now he's shooting them out like a porcupine. Mr. Miracle gets some cover. He's getting tangled up in the vines. This world of the id does my bidding. Every tree, every vine is a manipulative organ of the lump. He's right, I'm being held fast by these vines. Now this guy I like. Look at this configuration. He turns himself into some kind of flame-throwing tank monster. Just really amazing stuff. I'd love to see some more pictures of this. The great spotting of black on there, and just really, just basically a throwaway panel for Kirby, but study this forever. This is my game, Mr. Miracle, and I've played it 100 times with 100 opponents, now all dead. The change game of the lump, and I've been playing it with him like a willing partner. This is a recurring theme in this series, the whole meta series, New Gods, all of it is you get into these situations where you're fighting somebody, you're playing the game by rules that are set by the other person, and you kind of stop yourself and think, wait a second, what am I even doing here? I'm suddenly caught up in this thing that this is his thing, this isn't my thing. I need to get my wits about me and just refuse to play, step outside of this conflict that I've been forced into. This armored flame-throwing form is most adequate for this exciting part of my game. First, I'll burn the brush away, then close in for the kill. At that moment, all seems normal outside the great forbidding structure labeled Section 0. but this is not to last for long. So section 0 looks really cool, this giant like black gleaming cube that seems to have like energy rippling across it, the sort of, force field of it. For in its central guard post, iron vigilance has momentarily softened to a more relaxed degree. I never expected you to drop in, Guillotina, but I'm sure glad you did. You did invite me once, didn't you? And here, like, look at this drawing too, this little guard tower, like all this inventiveness for like a simple guard tower, and you have a little window, where you can see them in there. Oh, I know that I called you a boorish toad that time, but it was only because of your aggressive approach. Well, I've had plenty of time to think it over. Sure, it takes a little time for a wild cat to simmer down and start purring. Shall I purr for you, my sweet? It's your hands I dig, Guillotina. When I feel their touch, all my tensions disappear. And I love all the names that like the female Furies have, and Guillotina is a great one. And like, this is our first time seeing her, and just by the name and body language and dialogue, you know what's coming. She's lifting up her hand, and she's going to bring the guillotine down on this guy's neck. And never is the truth so eloquently expressed. Guillotina's hands have exactly those qualities. In the next moment, all of the guard's tensions have vanished. Here it is. This dial will open the energy wall. So this sort of force field wall is going to open up. Barda and her Furies, go running in. Once inside, there is surprise. Swift, silent massacre. Here they are. Follow me to the section director's post. Lashina should have taken it by now. So, Big Barda's taken back control of her unit, the unit that was sent to chase her and attack her a couple issues ago. Now she's, back in charge of them, these sort of power plays. And now Lashina is sort of stretching this guy's neck with, one of her bands, one of her belts, one of her straps. Speak or die. Let's have the exact location of Scott-Free. You've got 1 second to talk. Tighten that strap, Lashina. Cutting between two sort of tense stories. Cool stuff going on in the background. And yeah, look at this guy. You can really feel it. Things aren't going so great for Mr. Miracle. The fire, this cool flame-throwing form of the Lump is like really giving him the business. Lump, I'm not running anymore. I still have cards to play. Defiance will earn you no mercy. Burn, burn. Then, a small fission blast, Lump. My hidden circuits are capable of more. I've snuffed the flames out, and you've been shaken back to your normal self. My normal form may seem like lumpy, twisty, repulsive dough to you, but from it I can draw the means to finish you. He's stretching his limbs to exaggerated lengths. The Lump is coming in for the kill, doing some, Reed Richards kind of stuff, squeezing his silly putty hand around Mr. Miracle. Maybe that's what Kirby was thinking of. Like I was thinking of like bubblegum, but maybe, he saw some kids playing with silly putty and got the idea for this guy. And now, things are looking bad for Mr. Miracle. The Lump is too engrossed in his task to listen, and in Granny's mini theater, that's enough. The show's over. It always ends this way, on a happy note for Granny. That poor devil, scot-free. I warned him. How far has this kingdom fallen that such degrading combat should be tolerated? Shut your mouth. You're leaving. So that's, Tigra. She's not into any of this stuff. I thought it was a proper end for Scott-Free, Granny. Move, female. Hiya! This is more like it. See, she's seeing some. This is Orion's mom. So she loves action. She loves violence. She loves excitement, and she's loving it that now the female Furies have arrived. Heads up! It's doom time. Take it, you section zeros. This is, turning into one of those like, faster pussycat kill, Russ Meyer exploitation movies. I'll take that weapon, you rat. This finale is more to my liking. And yes, so far, Tigra's name hasn't been spoken. I always, my memory of this issue is that, they call her Tigra, like it was, but maybe this is one of those things. Maybe they don't say her name here and just, I just assumed that they say her name, but I mean, it's so obviously Tigra, but I mean, Kirby just, that's amazing that Kirby can do this great job of communicating that this is, this other character that was, much younger the last time you saw her and in a different outfit and you only saw her in like one or two panels and, Kirby is a master of visual storytelling. What more can I say? Care to test my blade, Kanto? Bernadette, I find the sister of the great Desaad incredibly disarming. So yeah, now turning on each other. the forces of apocalypse, and they're all, they're all ready to stab each other in the back, and interested in testing the mettle of each other. And now for you, you grungy old harridan, hand over Scott. I should have known you'd break the rules again for him. Well, you're too late this time, Barda. Yes, too late. Scott Free is dead. Unlike yourself, he understood the rules laid down by Granny and died an honorable death. As for you, traitor, you dare call me traitor? Why, I'm the purest, most superior product you ever turned out. Our objective is Scott, Barda. Make her tell us where his body is. I've talked about this in previous issues, but I really love this moment with Big Barda, that she's the purest, most superior product that Granny Goodness's orphanage has ever turned out. She is she fully followed the rules as they were laid down by Granny Goodness, by Darkseid. She is a true believer in Darkseid. And again, she hasn't turned against all this stuff because of regret about her association with Darkseid or any of that. She sort of turns against them because she views them as hypocrites, that they've created this set of rules that they obviously don't live by themselves, that they sort of put on other people, and that those rules have given her this amazing discipline that turns her into this super being, but that she realizes that all the people that were feeding her this stuff their whole life, they're not living up to it themselves. And so she's ready to destroy them, which is similar to what Kirby's conception was for him, who later became named Adam Warlock. It was the same sort of thing, this idea of these scientists creating a super being, but if you create a super being, maybe the super being is going to find you not worthy and kill you. And so now they're going to lift energy screen, room behind it. That's it, break the window. Got it. When they find Scott, I'm going to kill you, Granny. You're mad. Defy me and you defy Darkseid. I'm doing it. With Scott dead, I'm going to destroy everything that killed him. So now, up to this point, she hasn't turned against, her god, Darkseid. But the death of Mr. Miracle has pushed her even to that point. Hag, you taught me how to hate, but you couldn't teach me whom to hate. No, Barda, you mustn't. In here, Barda, I've won my trial by combat. Scott, you're alive. Scott, I should have known. I should have stayed cool with Mr. Miracle instead of being panicked by Granny. It's the secret of her power, the ability to shake our self-confidence. You had a rough time. I can see it. What did they do to you? The girls found you on a table. Don't cry. I was projected to a place. There I fought with a strange and mighty adversary. In the course of battle, I used a fission blast, which turned the ground to glass such as this. And that turned the tide for you? Yes, it did. My opponent, the lump, could produce a weapon to counter every trick in my bag. He was smothering me, attempting to finish me off, but he didn't see my hand break off a piece of the ground beneath me, a piece of reflecting substance, such as you hold. I drew up my hand, held this before him, and struck him a blow with the one weapon he couldn't withstand, the horrible sight of himself. Poor lump, he screamed and fled from the realm of the id, back to this place where he lies immobile, paralyzed in thought and body, in eternal fear of facing his true self. So the secret to victory was not physical combat, but psychological warfare. And this will be the key to defeating Darkseid. He's a strange creature indeed, with a monumental inferiority complex. Something, that can also be said of Darkseid, which, might have proved his undoing as well. With a retreat from which I was forced to expel him, the realm of the id. Coming, they kill him here, they kill him there, the hunters kill him everywhere, but he always turns up alive. In our next issue, we will meet him. He's the lovable old rascal who taught Scott Free his trade. He's the wondrous mystic being who built the first mother box. Hounded by an army of Darkseid's murderers, he's the only free mind on Apokolips. If you remember Fagin in Oliver Twist, you'll never forget Hyman, the escape artist of the ages. Hyman is, in my opinion, one of Jack Kirby's top 2 comics. The other one being New Gods number 7, and in my opinion, the best two comic books ever made. It's a tough decision which one I prefer. Each one, knocked me for a loop the first time I read them. They're just incredible stories. So yeah, New Gods #7 and Mr. Miracle #9 are, the two all-time greats in my opinion, and that's going to be the next issue of New Gods Sunday School. I'm Tom Scioli, author of Jack Kirby, The Epic Life of the King of Comics, and I Am Stan, a graphic biography of the legendary Stan Lee. Hopefully you got your free comic book day edition of I Am Stan, and if you'd like to order the full hardcover book, there's a pre-order link in the show notes below. Please follow me on Twitter at Tom Scioli, on Instagram at Tom_Scioli, and support my Patreon. Go to patreon.com, search Tom Scioli. I'll see you next time for New Gods Sunday School.